Okay, so we are final stages here. We're having issues yesterday with the Holley Sniper EFI. So I did a firmware upgrade and it didn't take. It got an error code 33. Holley was no help. Half an hour on hold and the guy didn't have time. He was so eager to get to the next call, he didn't want to help me out. So I looked online. A lot of the online forums indicated that if you got a error code 33 with the firmware upgrade, you need to disconnect all power. So rather, you have to disconnect the battery cable from the battery, but we've got it fired up here again. Dad just shut down all the ignitions, all his turn off switches, did this. So we just started it up, had some issues starting, put more gas into the fuel tanks, and now we're just waiting for it to get up to 160 degrees, 170, so it's still rising here. And then you can see yesterday we had an issue here with too much airflow. It was at 35%, and now it's at like hovering 13.2, 13.5 in that area, and that's good. That's where we want it. And the RPM now you can see is actually dropping a little bit, and that's perfect. So we're going to continue to warm this up. If it works, we're going to do a test run. The strong if here. So Dad's old school, and he doesn't know anything about electronic fuel injection, and so this is where I was able to help out with the firmware upgrade. Like, I understood everything, but even then it didn't take. So a couple fandangling here, some swearing for the last couple hours, managed to get it working, and we're going to continue to do this and play around. We might have to play around with the throttle a little bit, and there's a little screw that you got to adjust for the RPM, but we're good where we are right now. So Dad just tightened all the hoses here, and our AFR, our air fuel ratio is once the bombardier is at proper temperature for the engine, it seems to cut out as soon as it gets warm enough, and the airflow ratio starts to skyrocket. So that's what we're dealing with right now. Dad is swearing at this thing because he's not used to dealing with electronic fuel injection, and sadly, me knowing computers, I know more than he does on this stuff. So he's learning and I'm learning, and we're going at the same time, and we're looking at online forums, but what a nightmare. Charging at 12.8 volts, yeah. AFR's jumping between 13.5 and, well, it's where we want it. The RPM is up and down.
No, but that's where it's supposed to be.
And the engine temperature is 168, and there you go.
AFR.
So, getting too much gas when it gets to that temperature.
Well, I don't know nothing about that now.
Okay, so we've got my cousin's husband and one of his employees comes by. They're going to come by and help us out. So yeah, fun with Holley Sniper EFI. You think for $2,000 US you'd be able to plug this thing and go, but no, none of that. Okay, well, we got it fired up here again after a couple minutes, and we're gonna go see what the gauges say. Okay, what do the gauges say now?
Everything's perfect. 165 for temperature, 970 to 980 for RPM.
Yeah.
And the battery is 13 volts charging, and
temperature is 164. Yeah.
And the AFR is 13.2, 13.6.
It's running a little high, but
no, that's good.
Okay.
He said between 8 and 12.
No, that's the IAC. The AFR is the air fluid ratio. The IAC still in learn mode here again because we updated the firmware. Again, it's going to get to a certain temperature and it's just gonna, that AFR is going to go nuts, and then it cuts out.
We'll see.
So IAC positive percent is 31.
I don't know what's supposed
I don't know what that means.
Well, I don't know what's supposed to be. RPM is perfect. AFR is perfect. Battery's 13. That's good. $172 degrees.
Go adjust that screw. See if this goes down.
Which one?
That screw. That from the video.
Which goes down?
The IAC. That's the one. That's it. I know.
So once it gets up to temperature, that's it.
Yeah, but we never got to the adjusting that little screw yet.
Just wait.
Yeah,
And
I
see
know,
what it
I know,
says.
I know.
It's got to be around 12 or 13.
Okay, we're gonna give it a quick shot here. AFR is too much. Okay, so we're now going to look at the battery voltage. It's 11.6, and it might have drained a little bit from all the turning. And so we might just, because it's still at a high temp from when we started here before, it's at 171. Probably going to try and let it cool down a little bit, and then try restarting it again. Holy shit. No.
What?
I just said holy shit, and then it conked out. Okay, so we're still playing around here. They have, I got my cousin's husband out here, Vince, and he's got some knowledge on EFI. But we've been playing around here, testing different things. This is the first time it's kind of started in about 2 hours. Dad has mentioned that he could have taken all this out and put in a new carburetor, and they've just been done with it like already. Like the amount of hours that he's wasted trying to get this going it's unbelievable. So anyways, this is the stage we're at. We don't know what the hell's going on. All this is computer related. I know the software and whatever else, but the actual mechanics of making all this work here is something else. So, needless to say, if you know anybody with a Holley EFI, and has got a lot of experience with electronic fuel injection systems, especially the Holley Sniper. And you feel like taking a trip up here and visiting Dad, love to have you up here. But my God, this is a nightmare. Okay, so we're having some discussion here about the merits of EFI and old school carburetors.
Really, all I have to do is drop the carb on and put a 4-pound pump on, electric pump, and he's away. That's what's going to happen.
Dad's been playing around with this now for 7-10 days.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
That comes back to that. What's that terminology? Yes.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
That's the tip of the day from Vince Shepherd right there.
Especially when you're outside when it's minus 31 out with wind chill.
Okay. So maybe we talked Dad into ripping all this crap out and actually putting in something that's going to work for the client. Okay. We're with Vince Shepherd here. Vince, what do you figure Dad should do now?
I think he should just go back to his roots and keep it simple with the carburetor.
Okay, so
Something tried and tested, especially on something going
that
off-road.
old. Okay.
Yeah, going off.
So what do we look here? We got the Summit driving catalog.
Well, we're looking at just an Eldebrock carburetor. Just keep it simple.
Eldebrock carburetor. You said the 1405, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 382.95 US. That's about 500 Canadian. Because you can't figure it out, and you're an actual mechanic with an actual mechanic shop.
There's too many variables on there. It could come down to programming. It could come down to oxygen sensor placement, and you don't know any of the history on it.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's been stumbling on you from the time that it come in, there's so many different variables, Ralph.
10 to 14 days of Dad screwing around with this. It's costing us money now to deal with this.
And on top of it, if the meeting of the minds can't seem to figure it out here in the shop,
Yeah.
it's going to really suck for some gentleman who's out in the bush minus
My
35
concern
or
is
whatever.
if he's 20 miles out in the ice fishing and it stalls out on him like this, he'll die.
Yeah. No,
So-
there's too much technology there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for coming by.
Okay.
Is that your dog? Hey. Yeah. Oh, you're so gentle with your cat, eh?
Clean up those eyes so you can see something.